The Terran Paradox, an unforeseen victory. Introduction. In the distant corners of the cosmos, where galaxies swirled like celestial kaleidoscopes and stars burst into existence with silent brilliance, the Galactic Council held sway. Comprised of representatives from advanced civilizations, the Council was a testament to the breathtaking diversity of life across the galaxies. Each species held its own strength, a legacy of evolution sculpted by the peculiarities of their home planets. The Martunians, a warrior race from the high-gravity world of Martin, were revered for their Herculean strength and unyielding valor. The Targathians, from the data-rich planet of Targath, were celebrated for their ultra-fast cognitive abilities, their minds a cradle of logic and quantum computations. The Kuros, an enigmatic silicon-based life form, were renowned for their incredible feats of material engineering that defied known physical laws. Among these marvels of evolution, humans from the watery blue planet Earth seemed an oddity. They were not as physically imposing as the Martunians, nor as cognitively advanced as the Targathians, and they certainly couldn't manipulate matter like the Kuros. Their decisions often seemed swayed by emotions, a concept alien to many Council species. Their comparatively short history of space exploration and their lack of technologically advanced weapons earned them polite nods at Council meetings but little serious attention. Little did the Council realize that these seemingly insignificant creatures carried within them an extraordinary potential, a strength forged not in physical prowess or technological superiority, but in their resilience, creativity, and a profound knack for survival. The understanding of this power, the Terran Paradox, would unfurl only in the face of a dire threat, as an uninvited terror descended upon the galaxies from the uncharted corners of the cosmos. The arrival of the Zorlaks. Just as the galaxies seemed to dance in a harmonious cosmic ballet under the stewardship of the Galactic Council, an ominous shadow began to cast itself across the stars. From an unexplored corner of the cosmos, a new force emerged, the Zorlaks. Their arrival was heralded by an unnerving silence, a hush that fell over the cosmic channels as if the universe itself held its breath. The Zorlaks were a formidable race, a nightmare incarnate. A technologically superior civilization from a desolate, war-ravaged planet, they sought to expand their domain, to conquer, to rule. Their war machines were terrifying behemoths, their weapons destructive power unseen in the Council's realms. The galaxies watched in silent horror as Zorlak dreadnoughts cut across the cosmic expanse, their inexorable advance leaving worlds shattered and civilizations decimated. The Galactic Council had faced threats before, but the Zorlaks were unlike any they had encountered. They were immune to the Martunians' physical assault, impervious to Targathian cyber attacks, and indifferent to Kuros' elaborate defenses. A sense of dread descended upon the Council as they watched the relentless march of the Zorlaks. As system after system fell to the Zorlak onslaught, the Council convened an emergency session. The representatives from across the galaxies, who once held their heads high with pride and confidence, now gathered with a sense of impending doom. The normally bustling Council chamber was silent, filled with the palpable tension of desperation. Every solution proposed was met with stark reality. The Martunians' brute force was ineffective, the Targathians' strategic brilliance useless, and the Kuros' engineering marvels were trampled under the Zorlak advance. Despair gnawed at the heart of the Council, a dark abyss opening before them. It was in this darkest hour that all eyes, out of sheer desperation, turned to the human delegation. For the first time, the inhabitants of the small blue planet Earth found themselves at the center of the Council's attention. As Dr. Ellen Choi, the lead human representative, rose to speak, the fate of galaxies hung in the balance, their last hope vested in the most unlikely of species. But within the heart of this human lied a plan, one born not of physical might or technological superiority but of an ancient human concept, the art of war. The art of war. Dr. Ellen Choi stood before the Council, a lone human against the backdrop of beings who represented the pinnacle of evolution from across the galaxies. Her heart pounded in her chest, but her expression remained calm, steady. She had always been fascinated by the myriad of alien cultures around her, but today, they were not merely subjects of her curiosity, they were allies looking upon her for salvation. She began to speak of an ancient human concept unfamiliar to the Council members, the art of war. Bemused murmurs echoed through the chamber. War, to the Council, was a straightforward proposition of superior force and technology, not an art form. Yet, the urgency of their situation bound them to their seats, compelling them to listen to this seemingly bizarre proposition. Dr. Choi elaborated, her voice steady but resonant. She spoke of Sun Tzu and his ancient text. She discussed deception, psychological warfare, guerrilla tactics, and strategies that revolved not around direct confrontation but misdirection, creating chaos, and sowing the seeds of dissent within enemy ranks. She detailed a plan that seemed as audacious as it was simple, a plan that required no monumental strength or groundbreaking technology but relied on cunning, audacity, and the indomitable spirit of resilience. It was a plan that played to the human strengths, their ability to adapt, to survive, and most importantly, to unite in the face of adversity. Skepticism, doubt, and curiosity filled the chamber. They had always turned to the might of the Martunians, the analytical brilliance of the Targathians, and the unmatched engineering skills of the Kuros. But now, facing the prospect of annihilation, their last beacon of hope was the species they had overlooked, underestimated. Despite the skepticism, the Council had few options. They were at the precipice of extinction, their combined might rendered futile against the Zorlak threat. They had no other alternative but to trust in the audacity of this unassuming race from a far-off blue planet. With a vote that held the tension of countless worlds, the Council accepted the humans' proposal. The last roll of the cosmic dice was cast, setting in motion a chain of events that would define the future of the galaxies. The unseen battle. With the plan set in motion, the humans got to work, demonstrating a fervor that defied the dire circumstances. In the shadows of their underdog status, they forged alliances, coordinated strategies, and prepared for a battle unlike any that the Galactic Council had ever waged. In place of the traditional might and spectacle of interstellar warfare, this battle was to be won with guile and subterfuge, woven from the fabric of the art of war. Human spies, trained in the subtleties of deception, were dispatched across the galaxies. They infiltrated the Zorlak forces, sowing the seeds of dissent, spreading rumors of rebellion and mutiny. On the front lines, human soldiers adopted guerrilla tactics, striking at the Zorlak supply chains, their communication networks, creating chaos and disarray. Meanwhile, on the technological front, human scientists and engineers began devising a weapon that leveraged their understanding of biological life. They knew they could not match the Zorlaks in terms of firepower, but they were not looking to. Instead, they focused on a different approach, aiming to use a genetically engineered pathogen to target the Zorlaks' unique biology, impairing their ability to wage war without causing lasting harm. As weeks turned into months, the Zorlaks found themselves mired in a conflict that was unlike any they had ever faced. It was not the straightforward clash of might and technology they were accustomed to. This was a shadow war, its battlefield not on the barren expanses of contested planets, but in the minds and hearts of its soldiers, in the hidden pathways of their supply chains, in the silent echoes of their communication lines. Despite their superior technology and military strength, the Zorlaks began to falter. Their morale wavered as rumors of rebellion circulated among their ranks. Their logistics networks buckled under the guerrilla attacks. Their forces, infected by the non-lethal pathogen, started experiencing widespread sickness, further adding to their woes. The invincible dreadnought that once cast fear across the galaxies was beginning to crumble. The turning tide. As the Zorlaks' relentless march across the galaxies faltered, the members of the Galactic Council watched in disbelief. The simple, ingenious tactics of the humans were having an effect that the brute force of the Martunians, the intellectual prowess of the Targathians, and the engineering marvels of the Kuros had failed to achieve. In the midst of this unprecedented turnaround, it was the humans who maintained their stoicism. Their faces bore not the triumphant glow of impending victory, but the steely resolve of a race that knew the job was not yet done. Their battle was a testament to their tenacity, their ability to stand tall in the face of adversity. Amidst the turmoil, the Zorlaks were being pushed back, their initial shock slowly turning into disarray. However, the humans' non-lethal pathogen was starting to take a heavier toll on the Zorlak forces, rendering them unable to fight but without causing irreversible damage. Back on Earth and on many other planets, celebrations were a far-off thought. Every resource, every ounce of energy was being channeled into the war effort. Every individual, regardless of their role, understood that they were part of something greater, something that transcended the boundaries of their blue planet and reached out to the far corners of the galaxies. Finally, after months of tireless conflict, the day arrived when the Zorlak dreadnoughts began to retreat. Their forces, ailing and dispirited, were no longer the harbinger of doom they once were. The galaxies watched in relief as the Zorlaks conceded defeat, their once terrifying fleet retreating back into the uncharted void from whence they came. The news of the Zorlaks' withdrawal sent a wave of relief across the galaxies. The humans had done it. They had achieved what had seemed impossible. The underdogs of the Galactic Council had not only stood their ground against an overwhelming force but had also turned the tide in a battle that many had deemed lost. They had saved the galaxies, not with overwhelming strength or advanced technology, but with resilience, wit, and the ancient art of war. A new dawn. As the Zorlaks retreated, celebrations erupted across the galaxies. The Galactic Council, once dismissive of humanity, watched in awe as the small blue planet's inhabitants, their faces lined with fatigue but lit with joy, celebrated their victory. It was a victory not of one species over another, but a victory of resilience, of cunning, and of unity against a common foe. The Council met once more, their chamber buzzing with conversations, relief, and a newfound respect for the humans. The representatives of each species, the Martunians with their physical might, the Targathians with their cognitive brilliance, the Kuros with their engineering genius, watched as Dr. Ellen Choi approached the podium. She spoke not of triumph, but of unity and the importance of recognizing each other's strengths. She spoke of a future where the species of the Galactic Council, emboldened by their victory over the Zorlaks, could work together, understanding and learning from each other's strengths and weaknesses. As her words echoed through the chamber, the representatives of the Galactic Council found themselves united in their understanding. They had underestimated the humans, dismissed them as weaker, lesser beings, only to have them rise to the occasion and save the galaxies. It was a humbling realization and an enlightening moment, a reminder that strength came in many forms, and resilience and adaptability were as powerful as brute force or advanced technology. The humans' victory over the Zorlaks marked a new chapter in the history of the galaxies. It was a testament to the spirit of a species that had been overlooked, underestimated. It was the story of how the weakest members of the Galactic Council had become its saviors. And above all, it was a reminder that no species, no matter how small or unassuming, should ever be dismissed, for within them might lie the potential to change the course of the galaxies. From that day forward, the Galactic Council would no longer view humanity as the weak, emotional species from a small, blue planet. They were now the cunning strategists, the unyielding survivors, the saviors of the galaxies. They were the embodiment of the Terran paradox, proof that even the smallest spark can ignite the greatest flame. And so, a new dawn broke across the galaxies, brought forth by the resilience and cunning of humanity, forever altering the course of cosmic history.